What exactly is a triple threat? Let's take a look. Hi everyone, welcome to One Six Figure Focus, and in this video we're going to take a look at triple threats. If you've been following my channel, you probably know what it is, but if it's your first time watching or if you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button first of all, and then I'm going to explain what a triple threat is. It's quite simple. These figures, whether you're buying HotToys, in art, whether you're buying customs, even some of the third parties are getting very, very expensive. So if I'm going to part with my hard-earned cash or put one of these on a payment plan or put down an NRD, 99% of the time it's got to be a triple threat. So what exactly is that? It's simple. I have to love the character. Love the source material, whether that's a movie or a TV show, in my case mostly, or maybe in your case it could be a comic book or a computer game or animated series. So love the character, love the source material, and finally love that version of the character. So all of the following figures that I'm going to show you from my collection, these are all triple threats. So I literally went around the collection today, took a few photos, just one photo of each of them. So yeah, let's take a look at some of them. The first triple threat we're going to take a look at is, it's a very obvious one. So if you've been following the channel, you know that I've said this multiple times, that my collecting is rooted in my love of film. And I can trace my love of film back to the 1989 Tim Burton directed, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, Batman. The very first 1989 Batman with that beautiful Batmobile that I have on pre-order from Jazz Inc. So this is the DX0, I always get confused if it's the DX08 or the DX09. I believe this is the Hot Toys DX08. I'm going to shoot with DX08. So it's clearly the 1/6 scale Jack Nicholson Joker from the 1989 movie Batman. Is this a triple threat? This is probably the very definition of the triple threat. When I think of triple threats, I think of things like the Mark III for the first Iron Man, the Mark III for the first Iron Man movie, and the DX19, or from the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, or of course, yeah, the In-Art Joker. Fine. But let's take a look at this one first. The DX08 Jack Nicholson Joker from the 1989 movie Batman. So this is the definition of a triple threat. Do I love the character of the Joker? Absolutely, yeah. Various different renditions. This rendition, I quite like Joaquin Phoenix one, but of course I absolutely love Heath Ledger's versions, and even the animated series version, love that as well. All of them kind of, but the Leto version. So this here, love the character, but love the source material. I don't have to explain to you how much I enjoy the Batman 1989 movie. And then finally, do I love this version? Nicholson did a great job. Now this might actually divide people. I do prefer Heath Ledger's performance. I appreciate Joaquin Phoenix, and I love Jack Nicholson's kind of quirky, kind of kooky look of it. But yeah, Heath Ledger's I do prefer, but this, I just thought Jack Nicholson did a great job. And of course it has the member berries and nostalgia and all that, but this figure as well, like when I say this version, it's not just the movie or the actor that portrays the character in the movie, but it's also the figure as well, because we can have like great movies with great characters and great performances, but then really like underwhelming figures. But this figure is amazing. The head sculpt, if they do a reissue of this like they've done for of course the Keaton Batman from the first movie, if they do a reissue of this, because like before that Han Solo from the Return of the Jedi was put up for pre-order, I think everyone was doubting the Han Solo thing and said, oh, there's an issue with Harrison Ford or whatever, yada yada. And people are probably saying the same thing about Jack Nicholson. That very well be true. Maybe he doesn't want his likeness, captured in 6 scale or whatever like that. It could be a legal issue, licensing, I don't know. But I can't rule it out. And I don't think we can really rule it out. It could happen, but it'd be very hard to improve on this sculpt. This sculpt is amazing. It's got the separate rolling eyeballs function. I think at this stage it was parallel. I can't remember. The eyes move. It's got 2 different coats. This is the longer one. It kind of has the more kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's not as a heavy purple overcoat. It kind of has more of like, I don't know, tails on the back of it from what I remember. It's got a bunch of accessories. I mean, I haven't posed up here with the kind of that kind of megaphone, whatever you want to call it, and then the kind of detonation device. Oh no, that's a communication device on his left hand. The usual swap on hands comes with a cane. It comes with the kind of the false teeth that chatter, that kind of gag. That he can, when he gets punched in the face, he spits them out. And I think at the end of the movie, they were in some, I think that's what was in the box. That was the bag that was causing the laugh. Comes with a gun as well that has, the kind of the bang flag that comes out of it. Of course, the cane and the flower clips on. It's a fantastic figure. Ankle joint's a bit loose, but come on, it's a very, very old figure. It's very hard to see how they topped that. Kind of back in the days when DX was DX. Okay, the next one. again, this is such an easy, this is nearly my go-to example when explaining what a triple threat is. Do I love the source material? The 2008 Iron Man movie is one of the best, if not the best, MCU movies out there. Fantastic. It's like, you can't even compare it to the drivel that we've had in the last few years when it comes to the Disney Plus MCU TV shows, or some of the movies which were just horrendous. But the standard here, this launched the entire MCU, and it still holds up. I watch it here, and I'm never going to watch this and not enjoy this movie. So love the source material. Do I love the character Iron Man? Fantastic, absolutely love it. I really like Tony Stark's kind of intelligent but cocky attitude. I like how he's not a perfect. He's not perfect either. He has his kind of flaws. I like that, and I just love the fact that the whole concept. Someone like builds this suit of armor around himself and all the gadgets and the weaponry and stuff like this. But this here, the Mark III is iconic, and that word does get overused. But for me, for something to be iconic when you're talking about like TV shows or computer games or art or movies or whatever, it has to be of a high standard, but it has to stand the test of time as well. And you know, this is 2008. This is coming up on what, like 20 years old? What's it now? Is it 16 years old nearly or something? Like 2008? Yeah, it's 2008, 2018. Yeah, so you're talking, 16 years. Another 4 years, this will be 20 years old. But I love the chunkiness of this. As much as the nanotech is interesting, I actually prefer when he gets into a physical suit as opposed to being a nanotech. I love the curved kind of chest on it. The figure itself, this particular version, well, you got the classic red and gold. Obviously, you know, nod to the comic books, definitely. You've got battle damage, that kind of, you know, a chest plate that, you know, can be swapped out for the clean. I think it comes with a battle damage sculpt, and I can't remember if that one there. Yeah, that's the battle damage one I have on. The scuffs aren't coming through as well, but you got a clean faceplate and a clean chest plate. And I think on this one, yeah, the shoulder pads actually swap out. Usually with a lot of these Iron Man figures that have swap out battle damage parts, it's usually just the faceplate and the chest plate. But in this case here, you get the shoulder pads as well, kind of like the quarter scale version. But yeah, this is A1. The articulation is great. The paint apps are better. Of course, the scaling. This is the 2.0 version. The base is pretty cool. It's if you're getting it and you're connecting that Ironmonger to the foot of the base, because these are in two pieces. The Ironmonger is one part and the base itself is the second part. It takes a while to get them in there. You really have to. I didn't have to heat it up. I just used brute force and ignorance and a lot of patience and click them in there. But it is quite difficult. This comes with a bunch of weaponry, bunch of swap out parts. Of course, it lights up. I don't have this lit up at the moment, but the eyes light up, the chest lights up, the hands. Just an absolute epic piece. So this is another triple threat. This video is going to be long, folks. This one here, this is one that, let's not forget. Look, in terms of Star Wars, for me, it's original trilogy, Rogue One, The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, Andor, and while the Book of Boba Fett didn't hit the mark, episodes 5 and 6 were some of the best pieces of Star Wars media I've ever seen. Now, The Mandalorian, I understand a lot of things. The hype is real the hype was up to the max at the end of Season 2. That Season 2 finale when Luke Skywalker came back and they did it right. Amazing. They probably should have ended the show there if they didn't have a plan, which it didn't seem to be, because Season 3 was absolute rubbish. Just my opinion. That's it. But it shouldn't offend you. If it does, I recommend to go therapist. But no, Season 3, absolute rubbish. Whereas Season 1 and 2 were just so good. And let's not forget how good they were. That's the type of thing, shout out to Ian, aka H and Silverfox, that's the type of thing that I would go out and buy the 4K Blu-ray of, and then I could just cancel Disney Plus. I think that's what I might do. Just go and get the things I like Andor, Season 1 or 2 of Mandalorian, cancel Disney Plus, and if anything else comes along, wait for it to finish, join it for a month, watch it, and then cancel again. But this is not the chromed out version. But let's just say, right, is this a triple threat? Do I love the character of the Mandalorian? Din Djarin, fantastic character. Did I love the source material? Season 1 and 2, absolutely. And the episodes of Book of Boba Fett that he was in, episode 5 and 6. Just really high quality storytelling, great action, visually looked stunning, character development, all that. And do I love this version? I actually like the Durasteel, and I like this. I cannot rule out upgrading to the Chrome version, but at the moment, this particular part, this came with a bunch of stuff. I mean, okay, you have the Mandalorian, obviously. You've got Grogu. There's two different versions of Grogu. You have the little amulet he wears there, like kind of a necklace with the mudhorn on it. You've got the right shoulder blade, you have the regular one and the swap out one. Doesn't come with a head sculpt, unfortunately. Comes with the rifle, the handgun, the whistling birds, the flamethrower, the kind of tracking fob that he has. And of all of the outfit and all the little bits and pieces on him as well. The hover pram, a little blanket for the hover pram. The Camtono with all the different, the Beskar, the bricks that he has and stuff like that. Great piece. Can't rule out getting the chromed up version, but yeah, this is another triple threat. Let's move on. Okay. Love the character. Just going to leave it at that. It's from Empire Strikes Back, one of the greatest science fiction movies ever made, and the best Star Wars movie ever made. And then, of course, this version, I know that this is technically, I suppose a 2.0. They had that, I think it's the DX07. Would that be the first ever Star Wars DX they had, where you had two different versions, regular and battle damage Bespin look, and had the kind of weather vane and stuff like that. This is epic. I really like the head sculpt. You get two different swap out hair pieces. I think this one's better. I think this one helps the likeness better. Pretty sure, I can't remember if the eyes move on this one. I can't remember. I think they do, but correct me if I'm wrong anyway. I'm pretty sure they do. The light up base is the star of the show here. If you're just noticing, what you see here, I have my original trilogy stuff on the bottom shelf of the Bleedens. I've got 7 of them, so I've got 7 original trilogy figures just spread out. And you can't see it here, but I've drilled a hole about that size in each of the back centers of the base of the Bleedens. And that's what I'm feeding out the USB power for the base here. This base, I got the regular version. I didn't want the Dagobah base. This here, I just love it, man. It's just like, you have that light up kind of, it is iconic. It adds the atmosphere. You've got the red and orange of Bespin, and you got the two kind of white light, I don't know, power towers, whatever they are. I don't know what they're called. Generators, I don't know what they are. They just look cool. And I've paired this up obviously with a CCFL and done my best to hide the cabling. So I like the head sculpt. I just think it's really, really good. I love the outfit. Yeah, it's clean, fine. It's clean. It should be a bit more weathered up, but I actually really, really like it. And I just really like the pose as well. So yeah, this is again, definition of a triple threat. Moving on. This figure is amazing. It's controversial, but I don't think it's controversial. Some people do. You're never going to win an argument when it comes to who's the best Batman or who is the best Spider-Man. I think it's ridiculous the way people even start arguing. I mean, for me, the best Spider-Man in movies was Tom Holland, because it's based on the strength of the movie. Okay, Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, fantastic. He was in, Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War. Like, there are a lot of those movies. Like, come on, Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War, like even No Way Home. Even if you didn't think Far From Home was that great, or Homecoming was a bit slow or whatever, which I didn't actually like the two of them, but I think Far From Home was probably the weakest. The quality of the movies were very, very high. I also think he had that young look. I always thought that Toby was a bit too old to play, a kid. The fact that kind of Tom Holland is kind of like, he's muscular, he's skinny enough, but he's kind of lean enough and kind of lean muscle enough to make me believe that it is actually Spider-Man. He's not like super jacked or whatever. And I know that Spider-Man in the comics was super jacked in certain, depending on what comics you read or whatever. But my point is that Tom Holland is my Spider-Man. I think he is the best version. I prefer him over Andrew. I prefer him over Toby. While I wasn't into the Raimiverse, they don't do it for me, and Tobey Maguire never did it for me, and I grew up with those, so I probably should have bias towards them, but I'm not. I did appreciate the character of Doc Ock. I really did like Alfred Molina's portrayal of the character Doc Ock, but like this figure here, although it wasn't, it was controversial. Did I love the source material? I loved No Way Home. I loved him in it. I thought he was great in it. That bridge scene is just a fantastic action scene. And also then, do I love this version of it? Yes. I know the head sculpt isn't a banger. The head sculpt is not a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. I think with the glasses on, I can see Alfred Molina there. It's a 7 out of 10. I wouldn't give it any higher than that. It is not the greatest head sculpt I've ever seen. But this figure, the proportions, the outfit, the tailoring, like look what's going on here. You got the screen accurate outfit, you got the kind of a turtleneck, you got the brace that obviously the thing around the looks like a belt, like a girdle that at the back then attaches in the tentacles. You've got the trench coats, figures with trench coats. You know how I feel about them. They just look cool, whether it's Deckard from Blade Runner or Neo from the 1999 movie The Matrix. Just looks epic. But the star of the show, you know, the star of the show, so take the portions out of it, they're great, the cut and sew is great, the outfit's great, you know, the materials, these tentacles, I was blown away by how articulated they are. They don't feel flimsy. Every single segment that you see on those actually articulates and moves. And then the jaws move as well. And then if you get the deluxe, you get the nanotech versions, because you can see here from the red for when some of the nanotech goes into Doc Ock, and then essentially you know, Peter uses Bluetooth to sync and then control the arms. I really liked that. A lot of people didn't really like it. I thought it was pretty cool. Really, really simple, because I didn't see him getting out of it in that way, but really, really enjoyed it. And it made sense. So this here, absolute triple threat. Not the greatest head sculpt, but I can still see Alpha Melina there, but just it's not a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. Grand. So moving on. I mentioned this already, but that scene, I genuinely think the story of the Mandalorian should probably have ended there. It was like a natural ending. It was sad, it was poignant, the action was fantastic. We got to see Luke Skywalker the way we always wanted to see him. Because if you were a kid and you watched the original trilogy, and for the longest time, like, you didn't have any live action stuff, you know, unless you're reading the books or whatever, you kind of wanted to know what would a live action post Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker look like. And let's face it, the sequels was not it, because they were a dumpster fire. But when he lands on that craft, you see the X-Wing, you don't know who it is. I didn't know for sure. I thought it was Ahsoka, because if you notice in season 2, they obviously had an episode with Ahsoka, and I thought, okay, they're doing that. That's a bit of foreshadowing. She's going to come back, so it would make sense that it was her. And then also the fact that there was a real sense of urgency. Like, I don't think they're going to get out of this one, because those Dark Troopers, like Din Djarin, had a tough time just working on one of them. So they needed help. They absolutely needed help. But the sum of the parts, absolutely beautiful. This figure comes alive with a CCFL. I have posed it up with the regular one. I reviewed it with the regular one that comes with it. Just the lightsaber's awful. This is back in the day when they're doing the battery, so that's even more awful. But now you've got the USB powered, which is a step in the right direction, but they just don't look like lightsabers. This looks like a lightsaber. Yeah, I've heard all they're very expensive. Yes. I've heard stories about them melting and overheating. Yes, I haven't had that problem because I keep them at 25% brightness or 50% brightness. People give out the very, very tip that doesn't ignite, but to be honest, your eye is naturally drawn towards the brightest part of a scene. This looks like a lightsaber. Very, very posable figure, very, very simple figure, but this is one of those figures that I knew I'd like, but then when I got it in hand, I was like, okay, this head sculpt's really, really good. The articulation's really, really good. I kind of wanted to pose it. The tunic underneath was so good. I didn't want to pose it with the cloak, but I feel it was just sacrilegious to pose it without the cloak. But that just kind of came to that. Like, if you look at this pose here, it's opening up that you can see and appreciate the tunic underneath. But yeah, and then pose it up with a CCFL and hide the wire. Yeah, just absolute epic. Love the character. Love the source material. That was one of the best season finales ever of any TV show, I think. And yeah, love this particular style. I always thought growing up that the cloak he had in Return of the Jedi was black, but it was actually really, really dark brown. But it's I like the way they gave the fans a nod. Like, it was almost like everyone going, okay, we thought it was black, but like, yeah, I like the way they did that. Made him look more Sith look. This pose needs to be changed. For such an epic figure and an epic character and the definition of a triple threat, love the character, love the Dark Knight, and love Heath Ledger's performance. And this figure, I know we've talked about it to death, so I don't want to dwell on it. So, but at the end of the day, it is amazing. The sculpt's amazing. You've got the movable eyeballs. You've got the rooted hair, which looks fantastic as well. The tailoring is fantastic. You've got the die-cast weapons and magnetic base. I've never had an issue with it, but then again, I pose a lot of my figures without the bases, so I'm kind of used to posing them, you know, with making sure the feet are flat and the center of gravity is okay and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to repose this though, because this is very, very boring. I've had it like this for a while and I just don't like the way it's looking. I might do the grenades pose or something like that, and eventually I want to style the hair back a little bit more. It's kind of coming out to the sides a bit, but I kind of don't want to go near that unless it becomes a problem, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. I want to actually ruin it. So yeah, this is epic. There's never going to be, this actually isn't a great photo, but I really like I love the DX-19. This is my favorite Batsuit. Christopher Nolan made the Batman movies I always wanted to see. As much as I appreciate and love the two Burton movies, the first, you know, the only two, Batman and Batman Returns. What Nolan did was he made the trilogy. He made the Batman movies I always wanted to see. I was always curious, yeah, but how would that actually work in a real world? A billionaire who has all this tech and technology and like, you know, all this skill set. Like, how would it actually work? How would this work in real life? And Nolan made you believe that this could almost be possible, and I loved that. And the way, even like things like how it was kind of rooted, it was rooted in reality. So he had, like, you know, this Kevlar parts for the armor, or even when he got this armor, like, he was able to turn his head a bit more, which is kind of like a nod to how Keaton just used to move with his shoulders because of the restrictions from the cowl, and of course the restrictions that the Batman Begins suit, which I love that as well. But I really like the armored look of this, the kind of real world feel, and the fact that it's not just straight black. There's bits of like the carbon fiber grey and stuff like that as well. But yeah, great figure. The head sculpt's great as well. Comes with a bunch of different mouth plates. The eyes move. It comes with the usual things, like I think the sticky bomb gun. Yeah, it does come with the sticky bomb gun and the grappling gun and some of the batarangs and little mines and stuff like that. But yeah, great piece. This is a DX as well, the DX19, and the cape there is actually it was gifted to me by Alan, the 6 Scale Gallery. I believe it's Jackson Shoe. But yeah, it actually, the stock cape is okay on this one. It's not the greatest cape, but it's much better than the DX02 or the DX12, which is notoriously bad. But yeah, this cape, the Jackson Shoe custom, it hangs a lot better. It has these little pegs that just peg it into the hole. So yeah, another triple threat. This is, look, this is one of the greatest movies ever made. Absolutely love the character of the Terminator, whether it's in Terminator 1 or 2. This is clearly from Terminator 1. Love the first Terminator movie. There's only 2 Terminator movies anyway, 1 and 2 in my mind. The rest of them, no. So, love the character, I love the source material, and I love this version. This is just real kind of that 80s kind of horror sci-fi look. This comes with 4 different guns. 2 guns you haven't posed with, and it has a revolver, and has, of course, the laser pointer one from the movie and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different hands in this. Some are regular leather, or they're plastic, but they're made to look like you know, leather gloves or whatever. They're just plastic, but they're regular, and it comes some battle damage ones as well. It actually comes with a battle damage sculpt, and the eye lights up as well. I just went for the regular one, but this is from the police shootout T800 from Terminator 1. The jacket on this is not leather though. It is leather, but this is a set and forget. I've had it in this pose. I like this pose. I'm going to leave this in the pose for the foreseeable future. The less I touch this jacket, the better, because I don't want it to start breaking and flaking. You can't have Terminator without RoboCop. I mean, come on. So this is the 1986 versions. This is the version from the 1986 movie. This is the one that it is die-cast. It comes with the chair. Sorry, 1987 version. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first RoboCop came out in 1987. Comes with battle damage. I have obviously the 2 visors on. The battle damage visor on the battle damage helmet, the battle damage chest plate. But it comes with the clean version of both. I think 3 or 4 swap out mount plates. It comes with the chair. 2 guns. One of the guns is actually in the thigh. The die-cast gun is in the thigh, and then it actually doesn't come with a gun holding hand, which is a bit strange, so I have to use the articulated fingers to grab this one. So I use the lighter gun, which is the plastic, to do that. And also, there's another thing about this. It's a function I haven't tried. If you put batteries into this, there's a little remote, and it actually has a few phrases, which is a bit gimmicky, a bit like Toys R Us or whatever, but I haven't tried it, but I must do it at some point. It's epic figure, so I felt no need to get the RoboCop 3 one, because while there are 2 Terminator movies, there are also only 2 RoboCop movies. This is the only Spider-Man I currently own. I had some other Spider-Man. I got rid of them because going forward I would like to get that final swing suit if it turns out as good as the prototype, and I just have this image of getting kind of the integrated suit and then Toby and Andrew and posing together in some version of the meme pose, the classic meme pose, something like that. So, but this is, again, I mentioned earlier on, this is my definitive Spider-Man, this is my favorite Spider-Man figure, because it's Tom Holland. It has the classic vibrant red and blue look, so that kind of classic look. Again, I just love the layering. I really liked Homecoming. I don't know, for some reason, I know Homecoming was a massive movie, but it always had kind of an indie vibe to me or something. I don't know what it is. It was a very simple movie, but it was a really, really good movie. So I love the all the layering, the hoodie, the headphones over the hoodie. I just loved that. This was actually, in the promotional images of this, there was a pose like this, and that just sold me. It's just kind of a bit funny. Like, you just have him he'd never do this, but that's what I like about it. So you have the suit underneath, and then he's got the hood up, the headphones, the science book, the blazer, and just the contrast and the way it all hangs, and then of course the school bag. And it comes with other things. It comes with the normal things, the swap out lenses, swap out hands, web shooter hands, stuff like that, and the web wings and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually a lot gone into it. Right, the next one. we've just 2 more left now. So this is Deadpool and Deadpool 2. I think Deadpool and Wolverine, or Deadpool 3, let's be honest, if they nail that, this could be one of the best trilogies ever made. I love the first movie. I knew very little about Deadpool. I knew the gist. I knew he broke the fourth wall. I knew he had a mouth in him. So she was obviously nicknamed the Merc with the mouth. So I knew it was very, very R-rated stuff. I just thought Ryan Reynolds absolutely nailed it. Not just, and considering like his face was covered up for the majority of the movie, but just how he had to act with his body and stuff like that, and use that to convey like different emotions and tones, which I imagine is very, very hard when your face is covered up. The action scenes were great, the gags were hilarious, the music and stuff like that, and I just thought it was really well put together. But I actually loved Deadpool 2. I think Deadpool 2 is a better movie, and I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I'm alone on that, but I think the majority of people prefer the first one. But I loved Cable in Deadpool 2. I know he's not the huge, super jacked version of Cable from the comics. When I think of that Cable, I think the guy from the first Avatar, you know, that kind of big, kind of jacked up general with the kind of crew cut, or the hair, you know the guy. He would be kind of the type, I think, a good idea to play the live action Cable if it was more accurate to the comic book. So I just like Josh Brolin. In fairness, Josh Brolin got absolutely jacked for that role, and that cannot be easy. The guy was in his 50s doing that, I think. So yeah, the proportions on it are good. The you know, to have the paint apps and the coloring right. Comes with a bunch of different accessories. Comes with high heels, which was just hilarious. And I think some of the accessories are die cast, if I remember. So the 2 katanas, which go into the holsters on the back, the blade in his left ankle, the 2 revolvers, but I just have him here keeping it simple with the his little unicorn friend. So yeah, again, triple threat. Love the character, love the source material, and loved this particular version of the character. Be interesting now to see the tone difference between the Deadpool 3, which they're inevitably going to do, and this one. And finally, last but not least, so I mentioned this already, love the source material on this one, Deadpool 2, love the character and Josh Brolin's portrayal, and this figure got a lot of hate when it first came out, and I can see why, because they advertised it with the ability to pose it with basically without the poncho and without the t-shirt and all that kind of stuff, because obviously you see the biomechanical virus on his left arm and into his chest, and the paint apps are quite good in that, but he's just really, really skinny, and it makes the neck look elongated. I get why they had to do that, because there's a lot of layers going on here. You have the kind of a maroon colored t-shirt, and then you have the kind of the vest he has with all the different like cartridges, and I think there's knives and stuff like that or whatever, and then you have the poncho. Now I was always going to pose it with the poncho and the BFG, the massive gun that he has here as well, but yeah, I would have liked the option. But fantastic figure all the same. What I like about this figure is that this is a figure that comes with a lot of accessories, that you can pose with a lot of accessories, but not make it look like you're just trying to shoehorn in all the accessories. I mean, if you look at this guy here, I've got him with the maroon top on, you can see the t-shirt. I've got him with the vest with all the things hanging off him, which are really annoying to put in. The poncho is a really, really good accessory. It hangs really well, it's wired, and it actually looks really good with the hood up as well. I think the head sculpt is really good. You've got the BFG, which is the gun that the detail on the gun and just the look of the gun is fantastic as well. You've got the kind of grenade launcher there on his right hip. You've got the teddy bear, which is his daughter's, if you follow the story, on his left hip. You've also got the knife tucked into his right boot, and there's a gun on his right hip as well. And I believe, I don't think I have him with it, but the time machine device looks like a big watch. You can actually include that as well. So yeah, this video was way longer than expected to be, but they are my triple threats. Now look, I just picked out random ones. There's probably another 12 that I could pick out as well, but these are just some examples of figures that triple threats that I absolutely love the character, love the source material, and I love these particular versions, whether that's the Mark III suit, the Mark III armor, should I say, DX19, or Cable here. So yeah, right, that's it. That's the end of the video, finally. If you want to support the channel, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and consider becoming a channel member for additional extra exclusive perks. You can also follow me on Instagram and on X. That's it. That's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.